And now let's go to the port layer, the base services layer, the fundamental layer of the Symbian architecture. The base layer provides the lowest level of user-side services. In particular, the base layer includes the file services or the extension DLL and the user's library, meaning in this layer where you can find the central repository, the DBMS framework, and the file extension library of the Symbian OS. Also, in this layer, Symbian OS include DBMS generic relation database and API layer. And now let's go to the last layer or the lowest layer of the Symbian architecture, the kernel services and hardware interface layer uh, contain the operating system kernel itself and the supporting components which abstract the interface to the underlying hardware, including logical and physical device driver. And also in this layer, you can find the driver for all the hardware component of the phone. This is also the area where you can find the CPU and memory communication with the OS and optimization of the flow of services between CPU and OS. So you can find. Uh, the very important part in this layer is the kernel. So we're gonna talk kernel in more details in succeeding slide. Okay, so gonna summarize the five layer that we talked, the five fundamental architecture layer of the Symbian. The upper most layer is the UI framework, wherein you can see the customization from uh, mobile company. And then the second layer, the application layer, where you can find the third-party application inside here. And these two are using different kind of programming language. That's why here you can see in the right side. And then the third layer is the oil services. Uh, they are the big chunk in the Symbian architecture because in this layer serve as the middleman between communication app and the telco. See to it demands the standard, and yeah, they have the support for the multimedia and graphic services and some other generic libraries, for example, uh, Bluetooth communication and Wi-Fi connectivity, and even transferring of data from the of a computer or transferring by Bluetooth or transferring by Wi-Fi. This particular, we can say that this is the communication area of the uh, Symbian OS. The base layer technically is the repository area of the Symbian. You can see here important DLL libraries and DBMS library of the OS. And the last part, the lower part, wherein you can see here the kernel service and hardware abstract. Here, you can see the communication between hardware and OS. It was all happened because of the kernel. The communication between CPU, the memory, and other peripheral components of the phone. So in this part, all those communication is happening. We're going to elaborate more on the kernel in the succeeding slide because this is the third part of the presentation. Okay, to wrap up again muna. So in the first part, we discussed the brief history. And then the second part, the technical specification. We have discussed the programming language. And then ito, yung katapos lang, yung system architecture. And now we're going to the third part, the kernel of the Symbian OS.